Thank you guys so much for joining. We're just going to give a few more minutes to let some more people in. So we'll get up and running soon.
I just saw this on Facebook. I don't know how good it is or whatever it is, but I mean, it's like, hello. The one we missed from Central Bucks on mental health. There's a PowerPoint for that.
Hi, so this is a presentation on teens and alcohol use. It's guided towards the community of like the students at Central Bucks, but more guided towards like parents and like role models in the community.
It's home?
Or he entered that home circle.
We're just going to wait one more minute just to see if anyone else joins. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I appreciate you joining us today to discuss an issue that I feel is very important. My name is Kirstyn Smith. I am a student at the College of New Jersey, and I'm currently interning with New Hope Soulbury Cares. So today I will be talking a little bit about when and where underage drinking occurs. To give you a little bit of background, my entire life I lived along the Jersey Shore. So many of the things that I'm going to be discussing today, I've had personal experience with. I'm now a 21-year-old in college, and having previously attended public middle and high schools, I've seen firsthand the way that alcohol has affected the youth. So let's go ahead and get started. So one reason that this issue is so important is because of how common it is for teenagers to drink alcohol. Based on various national surveys, it has been found that alcohol is the most commonly used substance among young people in the United States. So a good question to answer for you guys is, what are teens drinking? Some of the alcoholic beverages that are most frequently consumed by teens are alcopops and hard seltzers. For those of you unfamiliar with the term alcopops, this is a term that was coined in Great Britain, and it describes a wide variety of alcoholic malt beverages. The reason they're so popular among teens is because of their sweet flavors. Many of them are fruity or bubbly, and this makes them an easy transition for teens from soda to alcohol. So here I've put up some common brand names of alcoholic drinks that are used among teens. You're probably familiar with many, if not all, of these brands. We have Four Loko, Mike's Hard products, Smirnoff and Twisted Tea products, We have Bud Light that makes Alka-Pops and hard seltzers. Then we have Truly's, High Noons, White Claws, and those are all very common hard seltzers. And all of these products come in a variety of different flavors, and they're very common party drinks. So there is little information regarding how Alka-Pops are made, but from the information that is given, it's believed that they start off as beer. They then remove the color and the taste and the alcohol from the beer, and they add colors. They pack them in bright colors, and then they package them.
No, I texted you.
If you guys could just please mute yourselves while I'm
Okay,
talking.
no, I have several pieces. That's totally up to you. If not, I can just serve the spicy.
Sorry. So they then remove the color, taste, and alcohol from the beer, and they add flavors, sweeteners, and distilled alcohol to the products. They then package the alcohol in bright colors, and this makes them very eye-catching. So as you can see from the pictures on this slide, all of the cans are brightly colored, and they come in a variety of fruity flavors. I discussed all of these on the slide before when I talked about common drinks among teens. So these are some of the common party drinks that teens use. So the typical serving size of Alka-Pops is a 12 fluid ounce can. They range anywhere from 3 to 7% alcohol by volume. However, some of them do have up to 12% alcohol by volume. A big thing to be aware of are tall boys. So these are a term to use to describe supersized cans of Alka-Pops. They range anywhere from 16 fluid ounces to 24 fluid ounces, and they also have a higher alcohol by volume. No problem. Tall boys are often sold as a single serving size can instead of in a pack of 6 or higher. Since Alka-Pops are considered to be a type of beer, they can be sold outside of liquor stores in Pennsylvania in small quantities, such as a single tall boy can. Additionally, since they are sold in single serving cans, it's cheaper than buying a 6-pack of alcohol. Some examples I've put here, one of them is a tall boy White Claw. These are 16 fluid ounces and 8% alcohol by volume, whereas a Four Loko tall boy is 23.5 fluid ounces, and this is 14% alcohol by volume. That's equivalent to 5.5 standard drinks in just one can. So single serving cans make access easier for teens. So this is definitely something to be aware of, especially in Pennsylvania, where these things can be bought outside of liquor stores. So where are teens drinking? Some of the common places for parties are at home, at the shore, or on lakes. In the summer, there is the possibility for teenagers to be home alone for longer while parents are working. Also, with the close access to the shore, there's the potential for teenagers to party at houses along the shore or at lake houses in surrounding areas. This brings about the dangers of drinking near water. Drinking and driving is not the only thing that you guys should be aware of, especially in the summer. Drinking and swimming also poses many dangers. Alcohol impairs your senses, and it can also alter your sense of distance. It can be a contributing factor in recreational drowning deaths. So a little personal anecdote for you. I knew some people who had a party at a lake house. They had boats at the lake house, and the teenagers, all underage, it was their senior year of high school. They all just graduated, and they wanted to go and party after graduation. So they went to this girl's lake house where they had boats. They had all been drinking on the docks, and there was one girl who was under the influence of alcohol, and she was actually trying to climb from one boat to the other, and she actually fell into the other boat. Thankfully, she didn't fall into the water or fall and hurt herself, but that situation, as you guys can probably imagine, could have ended much worse. So this is definitely something to be aware of when teenagers are drinking, especially unsupervised and in places where it can be more dangerous. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, in the summer with close access to the shore, it does bring about the dangers of drinking and being near the water. So with the potential for some families or friends to own a boat along the shore, it is important to be aware of the added risks. Boating magnifies the effects of alcohol due to sun exposure and the rocking movement of the waves. Some possible dangers that teens face while boating under the influence are falling off boats or swimming too close to propellers. In most states, including New Jersey, it's against the law to operate a boat with a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or higher, and in some cases with a blood alcohol content lower than 0.08% if it's deemed unsafe. So a BAC of 0.08% or more is the same measure for intoxication while driving a car. But something to be aware of is that in Pennsylvania, you have to be 16 and a half to obtain a driver's license, but to drive a boat in New Jersey, you only have to be 16 after receiving a New Jersey boating safety course certificate. So once summer ends, teenage alcohol use doesn't just stop just because school is back in session. During the school year, a big thing to be aware of is house parties. These can be small and quaint with just a few close friends, but they can also be open house invites with the possibility for large parties that can easily get out of control. While statistics do show that summer months have the highest rates of teen alcohol use, there are many events at school that can provoke underage drinking. These include small events such as sporting events, or they could be larger events such as prom or graduation. So pre-gaming is a term that's used by students to describe the gathering of students, usually at someone's house, to drink before attending a sports game. So at my high school, pre-gaming took place before all Friday night football games. I was always concerned that a teenager would be intoxicated to the point of falling off the bleachers or injuring themselves, potentially other people as well. I do remember one year that I was in the student section, a student drank so much that they ended up vomiting in the bleachers, surrounded by many other students. I'm sure you can all imagine how that went, so I'll spare you the gross details. But this is just one of the reasons why alcohol use is so dangerous among teens. I'm not saying that this will happen for all students. I never drank in high school and I was still able to enjoy my time at sports games and school events. But because some kids will drink, others will follow, and the possibility of peer pressure can come into play, or just wanting to fit in with the crowd. So prom. Prom is one of the biggest events of high school. Students gather at a great location, dressed in their very best to party, and girls will spend hundreds on a dress and get their hair and makeup done. Men will put on suits and tuxedos. There's special promposals where someone will ask their lucky someone to be their date, and maybe there'll even be limos or party buses. There's so much planning and thought that goes into the one night, but it doesn't just stop there. Unfortunately, this special occasion is often coupled with underage drinking, as well as the potential for drinking and driving. So according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, 1 in 3 deaths from alcohol-related incidents occur during prom or graduation weekend. Drunk driving, alcohol poisoning, or entering a car with someone under the influence are serious dangers that could occur. But it's not just prom night that should cause parents to worry. The parties that continue after prom night into prom weekend getaways. So for my school, the big place to go after prom was Wildwood, New Jersey. The high school students rent out a bunch of rooms at a motel and they party all weekend. They drink at the motel, they swim in the pools there, but they also have the freedom to walk to the beach and the boardwalk to spend time there as well. Not only is underage drinking a concern, but also the dangers associated with alcohol use near the water and in the sun as well, as it's also a possibility for driving under the influence. So another popular place for prom weekend for high schools in this community specifically is the Poconos or beach houses along the Jersey Shore. The same dangers apply to these prom weekend locations as well. Underage drinking poses many risks to students, even more so when they're partying for an entire weekend. I personally didn't go to Wildwood my prom weekend, but I did go away for the weekend with some of my friends. My friends and I went camping actually in upstate New York, where we were able to have a lot of fun without the use of alcohol. It was an amazing trip. We swam in rivers, we played volleyball, we went paintballing. So for me, this was so much fun. None of my friends had to worry about the dangers of underage drinking. We all agreed it would just be more fun if we didn't bring or use alcohol. So it is important, though, to communicate this with your teenagers about the dangers of underage drinking and making them aware that they still can have so much fun on their prom weekend without the use of alcohol. So really, communications is a huge thing with teens, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later. Graduation is another one of the most exciting events in high school. Students come into high school as like a 14 or 15-year-old kid, and they leave as a young adult. Graduating high school is a huge milestone, and it's great cause for celebration, don't get me wrong, but with the celebration often comes the use of alcohol for these young adults. Maybe some of you are familiar with the term project graduation. This is an event that some schools will have in order to promote a fun time for new graduates without the use of alcohol. The school will plan a fun event that occurs on the night of graduation. For my school, this event was a midnight boat cruise along the New York Harbor. Students need to arrive back at the school later on the night of graduation, and that gave them some time to celebrate with their families following the ceremony. They then get bused to the location where the boat would leave from, and they didn't arrive back home until very early the next morning. The event goes on all night, and it's meant to promote kids having a whole night to celebrate together, but with the safety of chaperones and without the use of alcohol or other substances. I love this event for the fact that it shows students how much fun they can have without drinking. And while this may be effective for some students who do attend, not all students will choose to partake in this event. Especially for mine, there was a cap off as well for project graduation, so only a certain amount of students were actually able to attend. It also does not prevent the further alcohol use that can occur at graduation parties or during the summer. So this is why it's important to communicate with your children about the dangers of underage drinking. While the graduates are now young adults, the older adults are still big influences in their lives, such as parents, and they still play a major role in who they are. By providing alcohol to minors, you are breaking the law. Parents can also be sued if they give alcohol to a minor and the minor then hurts themselves, someone else, or they damage property. You have to remember that the actions you take and the role you play in your child's life do matter. So it is important to set limits, but also be open to hearing your child out when they speak. I'll discuss a little bit more about this as well. So here are some of the reasons why teenagers drink alcohol. We have peer pressure, academic pressures. They see other people drinking. They see it as popular by the media. They use it as an escape. They're bored. They are rebelling. They lack self-confidence, or they don't have the proper education, or they're misinformed. So there are many reasons that will lead to teenagers using alcohol. So just make sure that you're constantly communicating with them and actively listening to them. Alcohol is often popularized on teen television shows and movies, and many teens drink in school as well. With the constant promotion of alcohol use, it can be easy for teens to begin underage drinking. It is important to set ground rules for children while also still being understanding that they are growing up and conversations will change and they will be exposed to alcohol. Just to give you a little bit information on the liquor laws in Pennsylvania, monopoly stores can sell spirits and wine, but they can't sell beer. Beer can only be sold in large quantities by beverage distributors, and they can't sell any wine or spirits. They also must obtain a special license to sell alcohol on Sundays. Restaurants and bars may sell beer and wine in small quantities with a liquor license. They also cannot sell more than 192 fluid ounces of beer or more than 4 bottles of wine per purchase. Now, since alcopops are considered to be a type of beer, they can be sold in these small quantities, like I was talking about before in the alcopops and the supersized cans that can be sold in these types of settings. There was also a new bill that was sponsored by O'Neill that's an expansion to Act 39 in 2016, which allowed for grocery stores and convenience stores to sell beer and wine in Pennsylvania as well. So for parents, an important thing to be aware of are the consequences that come with providing or selling alcohol to minors. The law states that you must be 21 years of age to purchase, drink, or possess any type of alcoholic beverage. It's a misdemeanor in the 3rd degree if you intentionally buy, sell, or provide alcohol to a person under the age of 21. The minimum penalty that you will face in Pennsylvania is a fine of no less than $1,000 for your first violation and a fine of $2,500 for each subsequent violation. So one of the most crucial things to know in regards to underage drinking are the effects and dangers that it can have on the youth. So potential problems that could occur include, but are not limited to, problems in school, social problems, problems with the law, unplanned or unprotected sexual activity, an increased risk of suicide, motor vehicle crashes related to alcohol use, unintentional injuries, a misuse of other substances, alcohol poisoning, and changes in brain development that may have lifelong effects. The human brain is not fully developed until 25 years of age, and the use of alcohol at a young age can have consequences that could affect normal brain development. A statistic that I found to be extremely saddening are the number of deaths related to alcohol use and use. The CDC states that excessive drinking is responsible for more than 3,500 deaths among young people under the age of 21 each year. So this statistic alone is evidence that alcohol use in teens is an extremely important issue, especially in the summer when teens are out of school and have more free time. I also just wanted to take the time to tell you a personal story. So ever since I was in high school, I never had the desire to drink alcohol. I'm now 21 years old and can legally drink, and I still choose not to. I had a friend in high school who I thought was just like me. I thought she was never going to drink. She hated drinking. She always talked about it. And then one night, she went to a party and she drank alcohol and ended up in the emergency room with alcohol poisoning that night. And it happened to someone that I never would have expected that it would. I also had another friend that same night who blacked out at the party. I'm not saying that this will happen to all teenagers who are drinking for the first time, but the danger is there, especially for the youth who are drinking alcohol for their first time and are unaware of the limits and consequences that can come with it. So I know a big question that many of you will ask is, how can we help? So we want to talk, listen, understand, inform, and educate. So you really have to talk with your teens by openly communicating with them. It'll help you build a better relationship with them that has trust. And this is so important, especially when it comes to communicating with students who are young adults now and they believe that they are growing up to be more mature and they can make their own decisions. But the talking can't just go one way. You really have to listen to them as well. I can say from personal experience that my parents having open communication with me helped so much. And I knew that I could always go to them when I had any concerns or questions. You really want to put yourself in their shoes as a teenager in school. Teenagers are exposed to a lot of new things, and you want to make sure that they feel comfortable coming to you if they have any questions or concerns. You have to understand that as they get older, they will be exposed to more risky behaviors, and the conversations may be difficult and they're going to change over time. It's also important to set clear boundaries for what you expect in your house. You have to inform your children of your rules and views so that they have a clear understanding of what is and is not okay in your home. Lastly, you really want to make sure that you educate your teens on the dangers and risks that come with underage drinking. These are all key factors that can have a huge impact on your teens' decisions. I did put a link there as well for more information regarding how you can help from SAMHSA. And here I've provided a list of my references if any of you would like to do more research on the information I've discussed today. And I appreciate you all taking the time to attend my presentation tonight. And I hope you have learned some valuable information regarding teens and alcohol use. If you have any questions, feel free to place yourself on mute if you want to raise your hand or place your questions in the chat, and hopefully we can provide you guys with some answers. I also do have a quick post survey. If I would really appreciate it if you could all just take the time to fill it out. It'll only take like 1 or 2 minutes. It's very short, just to help me give some feedback to say what I can do better in the future. Thank you guys. So I did place the link in the chat if you guys could just fill it out really quickly for me. I'd really